Litigation Psychology Podcast brought to you by Courtroom Sciences. I am Dr. Bill Kanasky. Today we're going to talk about the role of emotion in witness testimony, particularly deposition testimony. Emotion is bad. Emotion kills cognition, meaning when your witness gets emotional, they go into the fight or flight response pattern, which pretty much shuts down cognition, and your witness starts to say crazy things that you never prepped for in the prep sessions because they've lost their minds. And when I say lost their minds, they've lost that important part of their mind, that prefrontal cortex, and instead they're going into that what we call amygdala hijack, where the amygdala and hippocampus take over, and that's where you get your fight or your flight. So your fight is when they start to argue, right? Become defensive and argue. And the flight is when they just start yapping away to say anything to get out of that chair. So let's go to the videotape and get some examples of this for you and show you how bad this can be. Because remember, this stuff can be played in front of a jury. And if it does, it's going to look terrible and it's going to kill your witness's credibility is really the problem here. So now let's just start here. Look at this guy. Look at the posture. Look at the posture. He's got the tie undone, leaning forward. Looks like he wants to throw down in the back alley right now. This guy wants to fight. He's not happy being deposed, but he's on videotape. You do this in front of a jury, you're screwed, right? But even in a deposition, this makes the dep look very bad, which could eventually be played in the jury. Let's watch what happens.
Regarding the one at the freeway liquor, it wasn't freeway liquors. It was, I-40 and 2nd Street.
Why are we getting into this?
Part of the deposition, Mr. Perry.
Okay.
Did you drive there or were you driven?
I drove there.
Okay.
Is this for your blog site?
My blog site?
Well, the site that you're frequently referenced on?
Which site's that?
I think it's called Eye on Albuquerque.
As a solo practitioner, Mr. Perry, think I have time to mess around with blog sites?
I don't know.
Okay, so that's awful. So if you're the defense attorney, and I think there is a defense attorney sitting right next to him who is absolutely useless, by the way, you should have grabbed him, got him out of the room to try to calm him down. The problem is once that fight or flight takes off, it's a neurochemical response. It's almost impossible to stop. Now, here's the good news. It's 100% preventable with neurocognitive witness training, which is what I do. I have a system to put these witnesses through to unplug those emotional wires and make sure that this witness is going to come across as professional and calm the whole time. And if they stay calm, they're going to remain logical. If they remain logical, they're going to be able to answer the questions effectively. And so let's go to a famous one. Let's go to one everybody knows. Roger Stone, right? Villain. Well, again, I'm just going to let this go. But again, none of this stuff was part of his preparation. Absolutely loses his mind.
2 and 2 equals 4, doesn't it?
You have nothing.
Is that insane?
No, wild.
Is that insane?
Proof, evidence, Larry.
Is that
evidence.
insane?
Proof, Larry. Evidence, proof, evidence. Not guessing on your part with nothing. You have nothing. This proves nothing.
That's what you told Mueller, right? You had nothing. That's what your clients argued at the trial.
I'm not going to discuss the criminal case. If you want to keep insulting me, this will be over. You can run back to the judge like a little bitch.
I'm doing what?
If you want to keep insulting me, I will just end this and you go running back to the judge.
Did you just call me a bitch?
You're acting like one.
Oh, wow. That was an extreme example. But what the hell is going on here? Well, let's look at this slide. So again, it's all right here. It's all prefrontal cortex, people, right? What we're talking about is the prefrontal cortex, 3 parts: dorsolateral, anterior cingulate, ventral medial, prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that's the rational, judgment, logical part of the brain. But this is where the witness preparation data is stored, meaning all that work that you're doing with your witness, this is the part of the brain where that information is going to be stored, right? And if they use that part of the brain, we have logical responses, and that's effective witness training 101. We want logical responses, and that amygdala and hippocampus circuits disabled because the prefrontal cortex is taken over the system, right? But here's where the trouble comes in. Amygdala hijack. The subcortical structures of the amygdala and the hippocampus, they take over, And now the prefrontal cortex shuts down, meaning the area of the brain in which all your data storage is in from the witness prep is now shut down, and the witness can't access it. And this is where your witness starts to say really, really crazy things, because it's a neurochemical response, and they go into fight or flight response patterns, and then it's all over but the crying at that point. So you can't just tell your witnesses to be calm. Much of what we do at Courtroom Sciences, and what I do as a clinical neuropsychologist, is we have a training program to run the witnesses through to help modulate their emotions, to help disable that amygdala and hippocampal circuitry so that fight or flight response patterns don't take over, that neurochemical response never happens, and then your witness is going to stay calm the whole time. They're going to remain logical. They're going to give effective answers, and they're going to get through the deposition. And guess what? They're going to look great. They're going to look professional on video. Thank you for joining us today on the Litigation Psychology Podcast.